Not surprised at all. It's who he is. It's who he is. I've always thought that he's a horrible person, and this is every bit of proof.
Baltimore boxing champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend.
Tank is done. Tank is hung him up, shoes off, get the bag, put a plaque up, he done.
Promotion. November 14th, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis has officially been canceled. I know that we all speculated that it would be, and I was pretty much for sure that it would be canceled, but now we have official confirmation.
The boxing world is in shock after Leonard Ellerbe finally broke his silence on Gervonta "Tank" Davis's recent arrest, an incident that has sent shockwaves through the sport and led to the official cancellation of the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight. What was set to be one of the biggest crossover boxing events of the decade has now been scrapped, as legal troubles once again derail Tank's career.
9:30, 10 or so. Most Valuable Promotions, the promotion co-founded by Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian, posted this on social media. They posted that they were officially canceling the fight, saying Most Valuable Promotions immediately initiated an investigation. No, I had the wrong one. Okay, I'm reading this one. Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix have announced that Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, the one I was reading was the one from late last week, originally scheduled for Friday, November 14th at the Casella Center in Miami, Florida, will no longer be moving forward. Quote, "Our team has worked closely with all parties to navigate this situation responsibly," said Nikisa Badarian, CEO of MVP. "While we will not be moving forward with this event, our plan remains for Jake Paul to headline an event on Netflix in 2025. And that is what I'm hearing as well. They want him to fight in December. That is the hope. And they're actively looking for a opponent. More on that in a moment. Details regarding a new date, location, Jake's opponent, and additional bouts will be shared as soon as they are finalized. We thank Netflix, Casella Center, Seminole Hard Rock and Hotel and Casino for their partnership.
Ellerbe, longtime promoter, former CEO of Mayweather Promotions, and closely tied to Davis's promotional orbit, publicly declared that the situation had crossed a line. His alleged words were blunt, saying that Davis's legal troubles render the Paul fight not just improbable, but impossible, and that the boxers standing in the sport may be in serious peril. Reports indicate that Jake Paul's camp has made a formal offer to Ryan Garcia to replace Gervonta Davis and step into the headline slot on November 14. Multiple sources say Paul's promoter, Most Valuable Promotions, reached out to Garcia amid the fallout from Davis's legal troubles. The offer reportedly targets a potential December date, giving Garcia a window to negotiate, though his promoter has raised issues around existing contractual obligations that could complicate the deal.
Aggressive, man, it's just wrong. So as of today, November 2nd, this fight is still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters. And the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement, Ryan Garcia, Terence Crawford, Francis Ngannou, I mean, come on, we'll get into them, and Nate Diaz. So he's already fought Nate Diaz, but let's go through them one by one. I mean, Ryan Garcia, he's a similar size to Gervonta Davis. He's bigger though. Davis made him come down, didn't he? Then he beat him up. So that was Ryan Garcia. Quite a bad loss for Garcia, that was, because he was up for the fight, but Gervonta Davis beat Garcia. Garcia also isn't really big enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul, but that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia is a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. I mean, his Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good-looking kid.
Rolando Romero didn't hold back after the news broke that Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis had been canceled. Romero blasted the stacked card's collapse, saying Paul got exposed for chasing a spectacle instead of a proper opponent, and challenged him directly, claiming he'd slap him around if the fight ever happened. At the same time, Romero turned his fire on Ryan Garcia, accusing him of dodging a rematch they're both contractually owed. Romero labeled Garcia as untrustworthy and scared for backing out of their rematch clause, claiming the boxing world is tired of the talkers and wants fighters who actually show up.
Important announcement. I want to let everybody know I'm going to slap Jake Paul across his face because, first and foremost, man, I'm tired of this YouTube boxing stuff, man. I really am. I am more tired of this YouTube boxing stuff than everyone else, man. Oh, let's make this happen, bro. I'll be ready in a week. I'll be ready to slap Jake Paul across the face in a week. I will slap Jake Paul across his face. But who cares? I don't care. Roll over Jake Paul 2025, bro. I knocked out another YouTuber. I knocked out. Bro. Jake Paul gets knocked out cold by me, bro.
Oscar De La Hoya directly addressed rumors that Ryan Garcia could step in to replace Gervonta Davis. He confirmed that such talks never happened and made it clear that if any serious negotiations were underway, he would personally make the announcement. De La Hoya emphasized that Ryan Garcia is focused on other plans, and fans shouldn't expect a sudden crossover fight with Jake Paul. His response put an end to circulating speculation and reminded the boxing world that not every rumor deserves belief.
Reporters asking me about Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia. Let me just tell you why this fight is not going to happen. Ryan Garcia fights for DAZN, and Jake Paul fights on Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line. Golden Boy has a contract with DAZN. Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy. And that's just the way it is. I mean, this is business. You know, Ryan Garcia's probably going to rant saying, oh, you're keeping me from making money and this and that and fighting. No, you have to go by the law, by the rules. You have a contract with DAZN. You have a contract with Golden Boy. It just doesn't happen that way. So anyway, until next time, we'll see you Saturday for Virgil Ortiz. But again, Ryan Garcia's next fight will be announced by me.
The promotional company Most Valuable Promotions, MVP, confirmed that fans who purchase tickets via official channels such as Ticketmaster will receive automatic refunds within 14 to 21 days from their original point of purchase. For ticket holders who use secondary marketplaces or resale platforms, MVP advised contacting the vendor directly to initiate the refund, since automatic processing may not apply. This refund policy is part of MVP's broader statement, acknowledging the cancellation of the event and addressing how they are handling fan commitments in light of the cancellation. Multiple sources close to Most Valuable Promotions reveal that Francis Ngannou has emerged as the #1 replacement opponent for Jake Paul. Talks are reportedly underway to finalize what could be one of the most explosive crossover bouts in recent boxing history.
25 live globally on DAZN. First off, I'll say kudos to MVP for refunding people that did buy tickets to this event and also navigating this thing with professionalism, which they did the entire way through. You got to give them credit for that. They really stayed quiet on the rumor front and just handled things as a professional company. That's all you can really ask for. Jake Paul has, in the last couple of hours, tweeted idiot, and then God has a plan always. Two things that I think are both referring to this fight. First off, calling Gervonta Davis an idiot, I assume, and then obviously, God has a plan always, referring to this thing is probably going to work itself out. Obviously, this video is dedicated to talking about future opponents for Jake and potential fight dates. I do have something that I don't know if it's misinformation or not, but I'm just going to talk about it here. This is a tweet from somebody named ATalkers5. I don't know how realistic this potentially even could be, but this is from 4 hours ago. They said 2 of the female bouts scheduled for Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis undercard are now scheduled for December 14th on the IBF website.
Ngannou, who stunned the world with his boxing debut against Tyson Fury and later fought Anthony Joshua, remains a massive pay-per-view draw with global appeal. Jake Paul's camp believes Ngannou's knockout power and star presence make him the perfect substitute to salvage the event. However, Ngannou spoke openly against the reports linking him to Jake Paul. He said he would never accept a fight that feels like a publicity stunt. Ngannou believes that after facing elite boxers such as Tyson Fury, a matchup with a YouTuber-turned-boxer like Jake Paul would be an insult to his skill level. His response came shortly after Jake's camp began spreading hints about possible negotiations. Ngannou addressed those rumors directly, saying that fighters should respect their craft and not turn combat sports into a show for clicks. His clear rejection emphasized his professionalism and self-worth. The fans appreciated his honesty and agreed that a matchup between him and Jake Paul would not have made sense competitively or financially.
Expecting that at all. And he said, yeah, Jake Paul, he's fighting. And I'm like, no, bro, come on. Don't disrespect me like that. And then they even say like, even come out after and say, and what if the number are good? He sent out some number. I'm like, it's not about the number. If it was about the number, we could have started talk. I would have tell you, I'm not just interested. It make no sense for me. It's not my what I'm looking at right now.
So there is no dollar amount. It's more the opponent. The fight makes no sense. They could offer you $100 million and you wouldn't be interested.
The fight made no sense. That's what I think. That's my position. And though I went back, I saw,
Placement for Gervonta Davis. We had to go right to the source. What can you tell us? Is there any possibility that Francis Ngannou will step in for Gervonta Davis and fight Jake Paul?
no, there's no such of thing happening. Basically, like how can they go from like Gervonta Davis to Francis Ngannou? Like, I mean, Gervonta Davis is a fantastic boxer, but and is a one-shot knockout artist. But come on, like the weight different and everything, it make no sense. The Gervonta Davis, you say, okay, the size different can level up, but at this point, for me to, it make no sense.
According to some reports swirling around the internet, Jake Paul may turn his attention to Floyd Mayweather Jr. as a replacement for his canceled fight with Gervonta Davis. According to multiple outlets, Paul's camp reached out to Mayweather about a possible showdown, but Mayweather remains cool to the idea, labeling the proposed matchup as too easy and suggesting it won't happen under typical fight terms. While nothing has been officially signed, the chatter alone is adding fuel to the fire in an already chaotic boxing landscape.
And then if you keep going, you see stuff like this going around, and he's not the only one. A possible replacement for Paul being Garcia. I've seen another article that said that they pitched to Mayweather. I seen that one, and some other big names as well. And I'm pretty sure the people behind Paul got the bag because Paul draws the bag. So they can probably, if Floyd Mayweather commit to it, yeah, you get that money together because you know it's coming back in sales. You know it is. How old is Mayweather right now? It don't fucking matter. That bread is coming back. He's just a draw. The biggest, maybe, right? He might literally be the biggest boxing draw of all time, Floyd Mayweather. So I think that if this is true, that the fight is canceled, Jake Paul is going to end up with a significant replacement.
On the Ariel Helwani show, analysts broke down how Gervonta Davis's ongoing legal battles have severely tarnished his public image and jeopardized his boxing career. The new lawsuit, filed just 2 months after a previous case, reinforces what they called a pattern of toxic behavior surrounding Davis. Helwani and his panel noted that these repeated incidents have strained Davis's personal relationships and made major sponsors and networks hesitant to work with him. Netflix, which had planned to stream the Jake Paul versus Davis fight as its first major boxing event, is reportedly reconsidering its involvement to avoid controversy. With Davis's reputation collapsing, Jake Paul is now under pressure to find a replacement opponent before the entire event falls apart.
9:30, 10 or so. Most Valuable Promotions, the promotion co-founded by Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian, posted this on social media. They posted that they were officially canceling the fight, saying Most Valuable Promotions immediately initiated an investigation. No, I had the wrong one. Okay, I'm reading this one. Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix have announced that Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, the one I was reading was the one from late last week, originally scheduled for Friday, November 14th at the Garcia Center in Miami, Florida, will no longer be moving forward. Quote, our team has worked closely with all parties to navigate this situation responsibly, said Nikisa Badarian, CEO of MVP. While we will not be moving forward with this event, our plan remains for Jake Paul to headline an event on Netflix in 2025. And that is what I'm hearing as well. They want him to fight in December. That is the hope. And they're actively looking for a opponent. More on that in a moment. Details regarding a new date, location, Jake's opponent, and additional bouts will be shared as soon as they are finalized. We thank Netflix, Garcia Center, Seminole Hard Rock and Hotel and Casino for their partnership. Then there's some information about, fans who purchase tickets. You can see all of this online. I did speak to Nikisa briefly, and I've seen some people say like, hey, and this was his take. Like, I asked him two questions, basically, like, did this have anything to do with the ticket sales? He said this was going to be a very, very successful event for them financially. And the other thing was like, Tank Davis has a checkered past. He had a checkered past when this fight was made. What changed? Well, obviously, two incidents allegations, lawsuit. Since the fight was announced, they at the time felt like this was an opportunity for people to learn about who Tank Davis is, for him to show the world that he was a changed man, all this stuff and more. And that didn't happen, and they felt like they had to cancel the event. For the record, I feel like this was 100% the right call. You can't be a promotion that is so heavily invested in women's boxing and work with a guy who has allegations and lawsuits pending like Tank Davis does.
There are some reports suggesting that on the now vacated November 14th date, the promotion might replace that main show with at least 2 female title bouts. Earlier promotional material already listed women's world title fights for that card, such as Alicia Baumgardner versus Layla Baudouin for the super featherweight belts. While nothing is yet confirmed, the shift toward female championship bouts could signal the promoter pivoting the event around women's boxing in light of the cancellation of the Paul Davis fight. Analysts across several boxing shows argued that Jake Paul's harsh criticism of Gervonta Davis over his lawsuit was hypocritical. They emphasized that Davis's case is civil, not criminal, meaning no guilt has been proven. Commentators reminded audiences that Jake himself has faced similar misconduct accusations in the past from a former girlfriend, making his moral stance questionable. They accused Jake of using Davis's legal troubles as a PR strategy to distance himself from controversy rather than a sincere stand for ethics.
If I thought he did it twice, and we forgave him for that, and you got better, you seek help, and etc., I can, I forgive him for it.
Bruh.
How you know Jake Paul didn't know that?
Jake Paul knew.
Jake Paul 100% knew.
September 19th, 2017, arrest warrant. First degree assault. September 14th, 2018, arrested in Washington, D.C. February 1st, 2020, Davis arrested on domestic assault. March 22nd, 2021, indicted on 14 counts allegedly causing a serious crash. December 27th, 2022, days before a fight, arrested and jailed in Florida, domestic battery. July 11th, 25, taken into custody following a battery charge. October 31st, 25, Davis was involved in a civil fight with his girlfriend. Shut up, Jake Paul. Yeah. You knew what you was doing.
He does not get this excuse whatsoever. Also, whenever you look at what Jake Paul has done since coming into the sport of boxing, he has been a champion for women in the sport. He has also been a champion of equal fighter pay and whatnot, right? All of these different things that he's done. He's gone to Dana White directly for trying to abolish the Muhammad Ali Act that helps out fighters get. He's gone to so many different people. He's an extremely knowledgeable person whenever it comes to the sport that he's hyper obsessed with, and turned his career from a Disney star and a YouTuber into a boxer. He knew about these issues already. Correct. He knew that this was a farcical fight in the first place. Yeah. This is a 7 weight class difference in real boxing. No, absolutely not. It should not have been a fight that was happening in the first place. But even then, after all of these things going on right now, Jake Paul to sit there and act as if you are all high and mighty. Correct. And that I don't want to give this dude a platform to earn money. You were more than happy doing it and promoting it for months.
Gervonta Davis's arrest has not only shattered one of the most anticipated crossover fights in recent memory, but also exposed the fragility of hype-driven boxing events. With the Jake Paul versus Davis fight officially canceled, promoters and networks like Netflix are scrambling to protect their brands, exploring replacement opponents. The entire saga highlights how offering behavior can derail even the biggest sporting spectacles. For Jake Paul, the show must go on. But for Gervonta Davis, this latest arrest could mark the most devastating setback of his once promising boxing career.
And it sounds like they feel the same way. It's an impossible spot to be in.
The only part I'd say is, like, you kind of know who this guy is ahead of time. Like, this is not exactly a shocking revelation. Like, Tank Davis is, this is not the first rodeo. But I do think it's too close to the fight to really be, messing around here. Like, you got to figure out a new solution.
And so there's been multiple reports regarding people that they've reached out to. Names like Ryan Garcia have been brought up. Terrence Crawford has been brought up. Francis Ngannou has been brought up. And Francis Ngannou spoke to TMZ today, and he did confirm that he was contacted. And the quote was, "How can they go from Gervonta Davis to Francis Ngannou? It makes no sense." He was like, quote, "We think about you to fight Jake." I'm like, what? Which Jake? Bro, come on, don't disrespect me like that.
What do you think about this whole situation? Was Jake Paul right to pull out after Gervonta Davis's arrest? Or is he just using it as a PR move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.